What's going on, everybody? Yo, that's crazy. Before I even dive in, I spoke for like 30 minutes, and I just realized that, not even 30, but it was like 20 minutes, that our mic was not on when we was doing our, giving up for example. But it is what it is. It happens. I know, I know some of y'all know the struggle. If y'all do record, whatever, it is what it is. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day, morning, night, for whatever time y'all watching it. Hopefully, you guys had a blessed Good Friday. But yeah, we have Easter Day tomorrow, the 20th. So hopefully, you guys are spending it with your family and thanking God for everything that He has done, so that we can have the life that we have today, right? So, amen to that. All right. So today I got a different video for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and explain, which was kind of hard because lately market condition has not been the best, but I I worked around it, right? We did a little one and twos in around there, but we worked around it. Um, Today I'm gonna go ahead and speak about low resistance setups to high resistance setups. What makes a high resistant, what makes a low resistant, and how I mix it up with the 930 opening range gap. And yeah, all right. So I got about two and two, so I have two low resistant and two high resistant. Again, they wasn't the best, but in terms of delivery, again, in terms of delivery, they wasn't the best. But we're gonna work with what we get, right? So we're gonna use NQ today as a primary example, right? But let's get into the video, man. Do it. Yeah. So what you guys going? What we got here is Monday the 7th, right? If you guys didn't watch, I don't remember what Sunday recap it was, but we did speak about how we was going into a new contract, right? We went March contract expired, so we went into June contract. So I did mention how going lower, I needed to see price either gap into discount, like a nice big gap, to at least expand, into discount to then come back up. But my primary objective was to see price basically retrace into this Friday the 4th daily candle, because overall we had this as a point of entry and we had a weekly objective. So we ain't gonna go ahead, we're not gonna dive into that. Go, and I have everything uploaded for the Sunday recap. I did mention about the weekly and how this was below the weekly, right? So go ahead and watch that, right? So I did mention that this was an area of interest that we had, and then we had another one here. So like I said, go ahead and watch those Sunday recaps. They should be uploaded and saved up. So we could definitely see here that overall we did get that push, right? We did get that push in, basically going higher. On this day, I'm gonna go ahead and just show you that off the bat, right? We did gap into discount, so we had a good size of, in terms of gap, which we want to see, right? Um, we're gonna go ahead and go into the 1 hour. So again, it was not the best delivery, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into 10 to 11, because after that time we didn't really have much, because price then decided to retrace, and we just ranged basically for the whole entire day, I believe so, right? So we can see here that the first thing that we have gone, that we seen, right? We did mention, oh, okay, we want to see price, deliver going up higher. Now this is where I dive into the lower time frame, because I need to see what is balanced and what is not balanced. That's how I'm able to go ahead and decide, okay, not only are we on a maybe high resistant or low resistant trade, but what did we do at 930? Because I'm going to combine that, and as well as combining that with 930, what dealing range are we currently on? Because that current dealing range that we on from 10 to 11, that's all I really care. What's going to happen from 10 to 11? I don't really care what happens at 11:01, 11:02, 11:03. I don't really care. I just want to know what price is going to do from 10 to 11, so that I have an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So I got a couple things. The price, is it the price gap into discount or premium? Is it a high resistant, low resistant? Okay, that's fine. Where are we in terms of 10 a.m., right? ICT silver bullet because I trade ICT concepts. So what happened? Where are we in terms of that price? Right at 10 a.m. Where are we? Are we still in discount? Are we in premium? Okay. Now what we have low resistance, high resistance. The gap get filled up? Did it not get filled up? Where are we up to next? Okay, and then that's when I go ahead and I see, okay, where is price most likely to go? Where's low? Where is price balance and what's not balanced? All right, so we do have here a very not the best delivery, but we could see that it was an aggressive impulse delivery to the upside, right? Where we took our buy side and we run into a 1 hour sell side efficiency, buy side balance, and ran into the upper quadrant, right, of a 15-minute and a 5-minute sell side efficiency, buy side balance, which the algo, when they look at Civi or BISI or any source of inefficiency, they like to go ahead and target. So for example, if it's a Civi, the upper quadrant; if it's a BISI, the lower quadrant, right, and etc etc. So I did see here that we had a new week opening gap. The new week opening gap is done from Friday's close to Sunday open, right? So we have that, and in the side of that, we have a 1 hour sell sign efficiency and a volume imbalance. So I said, okay, we have this current nice little range in here that not only did we gap into discount, we have a nice gap, right, at 9:30, but we could go ahead and see if we could get a a trade higher, right? Now, if she wants to go ahead and expand through these barriers, which is a small, high resistance in here, then it needs to be done aggressively, because going through these area in here back and forth is just going to create a choppy, session, which we don't want to see. So we prefer seeing aggressive displacement so that we could see where is price intended to go to, right? So we could definitely see here that on 9 we had this bullish candle that respected these two 1 hour buy sign efficiency, sell sign balance, okay, besides going down lower at midnight open. So the following candle, which is 10 a.m., right, so we trade from 10 to 11, which is ICT silver bullet, right, we will dive in to the lower intervals, but the majority was already filled, right? So seeing that the majority was already filled, right, I said, and I believe I didn't trade that day, and if I did, I don't know, I don't remember. If we are going to go seek higher, then we want to see aggressive displacement or see price trade above. But again, being above and not having an aggressive displacement, we just gonna run into some issues, right, into these barriers in here. So going straight into the 2-minute, right, again we had the high and then the low of the 1 hour Cibi, which was currently still open at the time. We had this area here that we had highlighted. Now we had the sweep below these area here, which were nice sell stops, and they were done around 9:42, which is entering, basically getting close to the 9:50 10 micro. Now these busy here, I would have preferred for them to just stay on the field, because again, taking out these buy stops and continue going on higher, because we had this one here 9 a.m., right, this should be here that got traded to and through, right, a nice full body candle. Usually I like to see aggressiveness when it comes to inefficiency. All right, if it's multiple inefficiency, I would like to see a candle like this, right, because I know smart money is behind that, right? So I know when price come back into that, we're gonna have a rejection, right? Small, big rejection, but I know there's gonna be a rejection. So this is the reason why I said that around 9:56, which again is a micro, right, going into micro, we had this inefficiency here created and formed, and around 10:02 we came into that. We didn't fully came into this inverted FEG after it was created in 9:56, but we did run into this busy in here, and you guys could see the expansion that we had going into 10 to 11 silver bullet, taking out buy side and going into our 1 hour sell sign efficiency, buy sign balance, which it definitely had inefficiencies at the upper quadrant. Now, you guys could see that as soon as she went into the 50%, like she traded to and through the 50% and above, we did get a decline low right away, and we just got in this range, right? We just started ranging sideways, right? But like I mentioned before, if price would have continued going up higher to the area that we had marked up, which was in 1 hour inefficiency, which is this one in here, right? We wanted to see price do it aggressively, right? I understand that her getting into these area and just doing this is just going to create a lot of back and forth. So I prefer her just having, again, sometimes you might have those, sometimes you might not, having a full-blown candle, or even just waiting for that last candle up here, because they're too close to each other. So it's like if this wouldn't got filled and then we would have got a retracement, and this, and then we would have gone to here, then we would have again maybe had a pullback. But I would prefer seeing, you know, an aggressiveness of displacement through this Sebi in here, so that the next area we could reach is still this 1 hour inefficiency, which was right here. So all these things, right? I need to see them being done aggressively when it comes to an area where it's high resistant. Because if we have a high resistant trade, like, you know, here, then I know if price gets to that, you know, let's say we have no impact news, there's going to be a lot of back and forth, right? So even though on the 1 hour it seems like we didn't, like, it wasn't the best delivery, which it wasn't, after, you know, we gotten that, you know, move around 10-15 around there. I'm going to show you guys, because we got there around 10-16, right? So around 10-16, and afterwards you guys can see that we had fall into a sideways range. So even though it wasn't the best in terms of delivery, it did, you know, deliver to this new week opening gap and volume and balance, and also to our 1 hour SIBI. So this will be a low resistant in terms of delivery from 9 to, you know, 10, doing the ICT silver bullet, and then afterwards becoming, you know, I don't want to say high resistant, but just trading sideways, because there wasn't really much else to fill, right? So that's the reason why I wanted to see her continue trading up higher to then potentially move into these area in here. So that is our first example in terms of a low resistant trade. Again, it's not the best, but I had to basically shift. I had to basically work with what I, you know, had, right? So that's the first example. Let's go ahead into the second example, which I believe is going to be Tuesday the 8th, and it is a high resistance. We're going to go ahead and speak about this dealing range right here, from this high here to this low in here. Well, I'll say this low here. All right, so let's go ahead and then get into that second example. All right, so for our second example, it's going over Tuesday the 8th, which we did gap into premium, right? You guys can see that we got into premium on NQ. Again, we're still using NQ as a example, and it was a high resistance. Now, I explained as well that we went from having this one being our first point of entry to now being our second one, because we had formed after the close on Monday the 7th candle, right? That we did get that, you know, nice retracement up higher. We did create a daily sell sign efficiency, buy side imbalance, which basically, right now, I basically told myself, now I want to see if price at us closing down in here, if we could get that nice pull, right, nice retracement into this daily SIBI, and then who knows, maybe continue going down lower or pushing higher into a second point of interest. Now going into the hourly candle, right, there's a few things that we could see, right? We could see that price after the previous day on Monday, on the following day, Tuesday, we did give a rally up on higher after midnight open, right? So we consolidated a little bit and expanded going up higher. And also we missed on these buy side here. So again, we are looking from these highs to these low. These are the current range that we are looking into. So we have a couple of things that we have marked up, right? And then also we have this 1 hour inefficiency, that 1 hour inverted in 1 hour inverted gap, right? 1 hour inversion, I could say it like that, which didn't become one after 12 p.m. So seeing that 10 a.m. candle fell short from taking out buy side, going into the 5-minute, right? You guys can see 1020, 1025, so on total, 1030, 1040. Again, just looking at it, looking at this range for right here, y'all. There's nothing in here that I could go ahead and say, okay, if price come back into that, I want to see her, pull higher. Now we do have this 5-minute in here. Don't get me wrong, but look how it just reacted upon that. See that? You see that, right? And then we had one at 11:20, which outside of our range. So we have a 5-minute busy in here, and again, look at this, from 10, which is this candle here, all the way down to 11, which is this bullish candle here. We didn't really get much of anything to get into, right? But after the fact, look at that. So we traded to and through these areas in here, right? This 5-minute, which basically became inverted. Then we had this candle at 11:25, and then after that we came back up, right? So then this became not valid. Now we had this small area in here that got traded to and through at 11:35, so we take that off. All right. Then we have this area in here. Again, this is outside of our range. So we have 1055 all the way down. We had that expansion. Now, this is when we mentioned that we have this 1 hour inefficiency in here. That price around 12, we had gone into it. Look at that. So around 12:15, that's when we came into that 1 hour, right? Into that 1 hour inefficiency. Now we have a nice, low resistant, inefficiency in here that we could go ahead and potentially see price possibly react from it to go higher, but she didn't, right? So we could see that we did fill in this area in here. Price came back up, traded to and through and above it, jab into it around 12:30, expanded going down lower, and around 3 p.m. that's when we went ahead and delivered to these 1 hour inefficiency. So in terms of our time being delivered from 10 to 11, we didn't really have anything, right, at all. But if we could see the delivery in terms of price, how we had a lot of back and forth, back and forth. It wasn't the best. I guess, like I said, keep and talk. Like I mentioned, it wasn't a smooth delivery. It was a lot of back and forth. Every time we swept below these stops, sell stops, you guys could see there was a rejection being done. See that? Rejection going back up and then expanding. We had another one in here. All these outside of our trading hours. Again, I don't really care about these times. I don't. But it's good to have them. It's good to just, practice. But again, outside from our 10 to 11. So again, 10 right here, this bullish candle, all the way down to 11. We didn't really have much. So we gapped in premium, right? At this point, I basically mentioned, okay, going down lower, it's gonna be high resistant. Look how we look, high resistant. But if she could go down any lower during our time, we could go ahead and now aim to fill that 930 opening range gap from premium going down lower. Now, if she go ahead and continue going down lower, that's fine. We do have some nice area in here to go ahead and fill. But just from this low of this candle here all the way up here to our trading time, right, we could see that it was a lot to fight through. Even if we go into the 1 hour, look at that, price goes back below at 12, and then it runs into what? Now the only thing we have are these stops, these sell stops right here. That's pretty much it. After that, it was just, like I said, breaking barriers. Look, we have another one on here. A lot of back and forth, y'all. I cannot make this up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of back and forth. Taking out these sell stops right here as well. And finally delivering around 3:45, about 15 minutes before the close, right? Not close, but break, because you usually have a break from 4 to 6. So you guys can see the delivery that we have. This is what I call a high resistant trade. So just seeing these things, and again back testing them over and over to, you know, be okay letting go of these moves, just to build on my discipline and just build on, you know, being more patient. And because again, sometimes I might get into a trade like this and I might get greedy. So in the meantime, while I understand that the reason why this move here might look so good, but when we dive into the 5-minute, we have other stories, right, in terms of the delivery. Because again, even if we would have a high resistant trade here with all these back and forth, we still could have gotten an aggressive expansion going down lower and then seek, like I said, a nice, you know, nice sell, right? From where? Well, we seeing these buy side gain taken out to gain rent into here. That's our best bet. Anything below that, I know it's gonna be high resistant. So me personally, just seeing from these buy side here, knowing that we got into premium, to jab that buy side, come back into these inefficiency right here, to then expand higher, I would have been okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I would have been fine, because overall, that's the mindset that I had. I was like, okay, now is the low resistance going down lower. Again, going back to my videos, go back to it. Nice little sell off right here, could have been nicely. Taking our shares, you know what I'm saying, going about our day, and then just seeing if price was continuing to go lower. If she was going to continue going down lower, it would have had to be done aggressively. But if she would have just respect these 1 hour inefficiency, that I knew that even if we would have gone lower, got a nice setup to go down lower, we would have taken these out, seeing these 1 hour being respected. So again, it's just about mixing one and twos, you know what I'm saying? Like, not overcomplicating things. It might sound overcomplicated, but that's when back testing comes into play. And again, I just added in terms of looking and seeking where high resistant and low resistant setups are located, and seeing where its price is being balanced and not balanced. So just again, making myself be aware of these things, right? Just programming myself to see these setups and only these setups, nothing else, not more, not less, right? Keeping it simple, and as well being less behind the chart. Okay, so that is our second example, right? Let's go ahead and dive into a third example, which is going to be another high resistant, I believe, trade. And on that day, we did have FOMC. So let's go ahead and dive into Wednesday the 9th. Alright, yo, so for the third example, we're gonna skip Wednesday, because Wednesday is a little bit confusing and I don't wanna confuse anybody. So we're gonna let that one be. And then we're gonna dive into Thursday the 10th, which I believe, okay, yep, we got into discount. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and you can see that. So Thursday the 10th, we gap into discount from NQ, as we still using it as a example. All right, so this is a low resistance trade because again we do have this candle here that only one side of the market has been traded to. So we were seeking into trading into deeper into you know deeper lower, right, to balance this out into sell side. I mean, but sell side, excuse me. We do have a few things to mark up. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, I understand that we did gap into discount, and so in a situation like that, I seek for buy side, right? But this is where I like to make sure where I am, excuse me, where price is located, right, at my time of trading, which is 10 to 11, and mix them all together, like not mix them all together but put them all together so that I have an understanding, because we could have got into into discount and left a price untouched, right? In terms of that, I mean like 9:30 being untouched, right? And later maybe in the PM coming into touching it, right? But for here, you guys can see, what time was this? Is this 10? Let me go ahead and expand it a little bit more. You guys can see what I'm saying. What time is this? 11 and 10, 11. So around like 11:20, we did jab into it, because around here is where we found the setup, right? So you guys can see that we left the 9:30 opening range gap unfilled, but that was okay, right? Usually in terms of when I see things like that, I want to understand, okay, maybe we not gonna go ahead and fill that. All right, so that's when I like to mix both of them. Again, I'm trying to talk over because there's noise in the background. So all right, but anyways, as you guys can see, we didn't really jab into that, right, into the 9:30 opening range gap. So but it was a low resistant. Why was it a low resistant? Now we have, the first thing that we did was we did made a small rally up high into a 1 hour inverted FUG, right? So we could see that during London we did had a couple of touches before going down lower, and around 4 a.m. we had created another sell side inefficiency, and we did jab into around 6, 7, and 8, right, which is basically New York, going into New York open, right? So we did rally down lower. This was 9 a.m. candle, right, which where we closed. Again, this is good. All right, and then this is 10 a.m., right? So just being so that we are below, again, the red box is our 1 hour sell side inefficiency, and above is a volume imbalance. We could see that we had closed below around 9, and we was trading below around 10 a.m., right? So going into the 5 or the 1 minute, yes, the 1 minute, excuse me. So going into the 1 minute, we could see that after going down lower, again, it was not the best delivery in terms of price going down lower, but we definitely went down lower, right? We did sweep on buy stops, right, around 10:42, which again we are approaching 9:50, which is micro, right? 10:50 to 10 to 11:10. That's micro, right? And then we had created a sell side inefficiency around 10:44, and around 10:45 and 10:46 we did displace going down lower. Again, it was not the best, all right, but sometimes we're not gonna get perfect, right? So overall, this was a low resistance trade, all right, for the simple fact that we had this area in here for us to go ahead and fill and balance it out with some sell side. So this was even though on the 1 hour it was not the best in terms of delivery because how market condition are, it was a low resistance. So this is what I call a low resistance setup, because again, it is, we don't have a lot of back and forth as in this or this. All right, so pretty straightforward, easy explanation. But premium left, we gapped into discount. We left discount on filled, and we rallied down lower. Again, not only am I looking at the 930, but I'm looking at, okay, where are we in the hourly, right? So in the hourly overall, we had a 1 hour inefficiency. So we got to respect that, right? So again, is the higher time frame goes first, right? So we got to respect the higher time frame, and then going now into the lower time frame, have the understanding of where are we, so we won't get confused. So that is an example for our low resisting setup, again, where we had price fall below lower. And also this would have been a great area to get out. Why? Because again, when price traded to and through, right, the previous day on 4 p.m. we traded to and through aggressively to the sell side here, right, which was around 12 p.m., right? And again, it was done aggressively. So I already know when price come back in there, we're gonna have some sort of rejection because small money move is all in here, right? So like I said, look at that. We had a nice rejection going no higher, and this is the move that we are going to be going into as a high resisting setup, which was Friday, right? So that is the third example for that. Let's get into the final example, which is, again, it is a high resistance. So that's 2 and 2, 2 low resistant and 2 high resistant trade. Let's get into the next one. All right, so for our final example, it's still using NQ as a example. We are going over Friday, the 11th. So it is a high resistant trade. We did gap into discount. You guys could see it wasn't a big gap, but we did gap into discount. You guys could see right there at 9:30. All right, so from our daily time frame, right? Let's go. Overall, let's do an overview. So we had Monday rally up higher. Tuesday we went up higher. We missed our first point of entry. On Wednesday we didn't go over because it was a low resistant to high resistant trade after it delivered. But overall, you guys could see we did push through into this area here, which is our daily, right? And it became a daily inverted FEG, and also push into our second point of entry and into a volume imbalance, right? Volume imbalance and overall CIVI, daily CIVI. We can see here that on Thursday, right, as we mentioned, that believe we did, we got into discount. Yes, we got into discount, and from discount we could see that we did drop below, but we still and remain inside our daily inverted FEG. On the following day, which was Friday, which was going over, we gap into discount, and overall we finished inside our second point of entry, respecting our daily inverted FEG, right? So going down to the 1 hour, you can see why it was a high resistance. Now we are currently looking at the range that we are trading in, which is from this high here to this low here, right? Which after a rejection on the previous day on this 1 hour inversion, we also are respecting this 1 hour inversion. So respecting these and these, and inside of this 1 hour inverted FEG, we have one in here, right? So we have one that turned around 1 a.m. and we did received a couple of retracement into it all through London, and going into our trading hours, which is 10 to 11, right? So you guys could see that the delivery wasn't the best. I understand it was Friday, but again, looking at what we have here, it wasn't the best in terms of seeing where price could go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna move here, and that's about it. The only area that I'll be looking at to see price redeliver, which it's basically reclaiming this previous 1 hour sell side inefficiency, buy side balance, and then from there diving in to see what is balanced and what is not balanced, right? To see from there if price is willing to push through into, close above it, to even target these high and run into our inefficiency that we have remaining of this 1 hour here. All right, so going down to the I'm gonna take this off. All right, so going down into the 5 minute, right, this is when we said, okay, we're just gonna leave everything alone because it wasn't really much in terms of price, telling us, oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. No, it was a lot of back and forth, right? We had this 10-15 candle in here that we had marked up that we said, okay, let's see if price was to trade to and through. And at 10:40, we did that. But look at here, around 10:55, we went back into it. So we had two, right? So it was either we was gonna trade below, right, and this and trade to and through this busy here and turn it into an inverted to then continue to go down lower, or respect this one. So we was again in between these two. So one of them had to be, turned into an inverted to have an idea as to where price is willing to go. So we see here around 10:55, we traded below it. It became invalid around 11. You guys could see we went down lower, and around 11:10, which is the end of micro, we traded below this area. But then what happened was that around 11:25, we had traded above this inefficiency here, which was a busy, then turned into an inverted, and then invalid because they traded both sides, right? It gave sell side and buy side. But then we could see here that going into lunch to the PM session, she started rallying up on higher. And before even running out these buy side, which we had in here on the 5 minute, she did give one more pullback from 12:30, which is the NY lunch, and finally gave another rally up on higher. So I lost interest in on Friday after all this was happening because again of all the back and forth, and it wasn't any clear setup for us to go ahead and take. Overall, you guys can see what type of day it was. I didn't even got to dive into the 1 minute because my eyes already got accustomed to, when I'm seeing price, even on the 1 hour, 5 minute, what to expect in the lower time frame. Again, with back testing, you'll be able to understand everything. So I do suggest to back test and look, actually dive in, because back testing, it helps. You know what I mean? It really helps. So I'm gonna have what I use for back testing, which is notation. I have it. I'm gonna have the link down below. Again, I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm telling y'all, it's basically a drawing notebook, but you can customize however you want. It's pretty simple. It's not hard. All right, so that's pretty much it for me today. I gave 2 examples of a low resistant, 2 examples of high resistant. A lot of noise in the background, but we adjust to the environment. Hopefully you find this insightful. Hopefully you guys see how I use the 930, how I identify where low resistant is, high resistant is, and even diving into inefficiency where price might be balanced and not balanced, right? So all those, putting them together and just waiting for entry, simplicity, my own terms of simplicity. Just find your own term of simplicity and don't change it, right? The only time you change it if you really need to, but your model in terms of everything, don't abandon it. All right, so as always, 5 P's: proper preparation, prevent poor performance. And like my mama always say, be the first one in the room and the last one to leave. Apply that to anything you do. And as always, appreciate y'all, love y'all, have a good night, morning, afternoon, for whatever time y'all watching it. I'm gonna go eat because I am starving. I literally came out of the gym and have not eaten, so I'm gonna highlight y'all. Peace.